Buy low on JJ walking into week number 4. As people come out of week number 3 in a panic and they head into week 4, you say, hey, I'll take JJ off your hands, a guy that has lived in a environment where he's never really had a quarterback, a consistent quarterback, or a Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase is used to Joe Burrow. He's used to the lavish lifestyle of getting footballs from Joe Burrow. Things do not look as good on the Cincinnati Bengal front as things look on the Minnesota Vikings front. So of the two players, I believe I'd rather go get Justin Jefferson. And we're going to talk about why, how to go get him. And this is the mining show. We're mining for week 4 buy lows. We're coming up with one piece of gold. This is the mining show that will lead into the future later show of the week that'll have the bigger list of players. So enjoy we call this like the sneak peek mining show. Mining for gold. So let's get into it, and then we'll talk about what maybe to expect on the greater show, the bigger show, the show that has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 buy low players that will air probably, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. The fantasy football show begins right now.
From the fantasyfootballshow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Okay, so what do you do to get JJ? Who do you give up? Some of you have a player like, let's say, DK Metcalf, or you have a player like Xavier Worthy, or you have a player like Tyreek Hill. Let's use Tyreek Hill as an example right now. None of these players are getting you JJ straight up. None of them. But if you couple a player like JCM, who is his starting running back to some degree, we thought so walking into week 3, then he wasn't, then he was, then he wasn't. Let's say you acquired a Cam Scatterboo, or you're going to on waivers, like we've suggested for almost 2 weeks now, 3 weeks now, actually all off season, but really strong, hardcore push to say, go get this guy. These 3 guys are a 9 out of 10 of odds of winning your league type of ad drop. And this is the week 4 waiver wire board. If you haven't seen that video, I'll just show it to you right now. Benson is at the top, Scatterboo and Tootin and A.O. Manor and Burden and Tucker and Indiana Jones. This is the board right here. Benson's the top guy. But going back to this screen, I will say that this is something that I've seen acquire JJ. It might seem unrealistic to some of you, but it is certainly a possibility. JCM, you're always going to try and make out on the deal. So if you say, oh, not in my league, how many times has somebody pulled off a trade in your league that you said, wow, can't believe he did that trade? You're trying to do that. Now, do I give up a Jacobs? Jacobs could have a good game next week because he goes up against the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys just allowed the Chicago Bears to completely lambaste him. And so, you know, there is the thought that Jacobs, you sell him after this coming week, but Jacobs with a wide receiver could get you JJ. I still, in advance, trade Jacobs for JJ. You know, JJ could have a big baller day. Goes against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not a bad matchup on paper right now. It might have been earlier in the offseason, but it's not right now. JJ could go have a good day, and kind of like having, 2 homes. Yeah, one house you might say is going to go up in value. Let's say you're trying to sell this house. It might go up in value next week, so you want to wait, but the house you want to buy is also going to go up relatively. So I'm not worried about necessarily trading Jacobs before that game. Kenneth Walker is a player that I have concern about holding on to his job all year long. I'm trading him and a worrisome player like Hill for JJ. I'm trading, let's call it a running back like Breece Hall. You might not be able to do that straight up, but I'm doing that plus something for JJ. Smitty, how do I get out of Chase Brown? First of all, I don't know that I'm just trying to run away from Chase Brown. I think a lot of people will want to, and I understand that frustration. But just keep in mind that, 1 week ago, we're worried about this player. Caleb Williams was completely trashed, everybody. And I still think playing the Dallas Cowboys is the reason Caleb had 4 touchdowns. And we even talked about that heading into the week, that he could have a good week. It's a great matchup. But Chase Brown, just like everybody thinks he's trash now, last week, everybody wanted to acquire him. So 1 week has gone by since he's fallen off the face of the earth, and everybody hates him. They don't want him. So I'm not running away from him as quickly as other people are, but am I using a questionable player right now? plus a wide receiver to go get JJ. So let's say it's Tyreek Hill again. Or it's a wide receiver. Let's find another player that kind of fits that same kind of value. Ricky Pearsall, maybe. A lot of people like Ricky and are considering him that type of player that you move. Maybe you're talking about trading a Judy, or maybe you have a Waddle. Maybe you have. So these are all moves that you're trying to make. Now let's go kind of heavier wide receiver and say, who do we trade away? What about T. Higgins? What about T. Higgins and a Walker? Yes, I'm trading that for JJ. What about Adunze? Adunze. Now, some might say, I'd rather have Adunze than JJ. You don't want Adunze over JJ. Adunze's awesome. But how do you get JJ with this? Maybe it's a player you added. Maybe it's Scat. Maybe it's, you could even say, what if it was Mason and Adunze for JJ and something? But, if I'm trying to do a straight up 2-for-1 without adding something in, then I suppose we go over to the running backs and just take a gander here. You could maybe move Scat. You could maybe move a player like, man, this is getting crazy because some of the values are tanking for some of these guys, and you can no longer, this is a wild weeks 1 through 3. The values have been, it's like half of the running backs have been cut in half or cut at the knees. Half of the wide receivers are just out of play for top 20 wide receiver field right now. Quarterbacks are injured from top to bottom. Adunze and Monty, Adunze and some of these guys we're picking up. I honestly think like Swift, I mean, same team, but Swift would be one that we'd talk about here. Pollard. None of these are easy to do, and let me just give you another example. So Pollard or Dunze, you might say it can't get me JJ. I mean, I would beg to differ that it could. You throw in T. Higgins here, you throw in Tyreek Hill here. I'm trying to come up with as many combinations that are going to help some of you guys that might actually land like a slot machine on the right combination that you have. I still think this Walker and Hill, even if you're getting something, someone might have Harvey and they're like, I'll just throw him in. I want to wash my hands of Harvey anyway. Something like that. I think that if you were to pick up, let's say Benson, I'm not saying I want to trade Benson, but sometimes you're picking these guys up to trade them and use them as a piece to help your team. Then you're like, okay, Benson for JJ, you got to give up something. And what are you giving up? Let's go back over to the wide receivers and just talk about what T. Higgins. Sure. Metcalf, Devontae Smith. I give up Devontae Smith. He won't be consistent. I'd do that in a heartbeat. I think I'd do DK and Benson as well if I had the depth for it. Some of this will depend on your depth. I think Sutton is a solid sell high right now, and I think he's also a solid hold. So maybe you do ask for something here, but that's something that could get you into JJ. Sometimes you have to do a 2-for-2. Ridley, of course, Waddle, I mentioned. McLaurin's injured, so you throw him in. Lad McConkey, I don't know that anybody's going to value Lad McConkey, but if you could get someone to, MHJ. Yeah, you do it. You just do it. You pull the trigger. Now, another look at this would be, what if you were to trade like London? Can't do that straight up, but you give up that Benson. Or, and then maybe you're asking for something there, maybe not. London, and you give up a Pollard. I definitely think if you do London, you want to give up something that you literally you're not even going to lose any sleep over, like Pollard or Pearsall or Devontae Smith, something like that. Running back wise. I mean, look, this makes sense to do, and it also makes sense to not do if you believe in London, but honestly, if you're 1 win or 0 wins, you've got to take the gamble that you're getting the JJ that you believe he always could be. Right now, he's not, but you believe he will be. Bottom line is JJ at least has top 1 to 4 wide receiver upside. There are not a lot of wide receivers you can say that about right now. And, you know, we look at a player like Lamb, and Lamb, while he has that appeal, he's out potentially a handful of weeks now. We'll know more in the morning. I think, you know, I would also go after Neighbors. You'll find Neighbors on the greater buy low list. To spoil it, I will tell you he's on there. Of the greater, bigger list that we're going to have, he will be on it. So this is the mining show. This is the show that isolates one player and then teases into the greater show that has 5, 6, 7, 10 players. Neighbors will be on it. You're not going to be able to get Puka. Puka's top 5. Neighbors is questionably top 5. Lamb is injured. St. Brown, top 5, 6, something like that. Nico, right around there. And then it just drops off. You have JSN as well, but then it drops off. So you have like 5 or 6 guys that are right there. And there's just not a lot of players you can find after those guys. So Nico, St. Brown, JSN, Puka, and Neighbors. After you get past those, it's like, who else has the potential to be top 1 to 4? The industry's upside down right now. The fantasy football values are upside down right now. There's injuries galore, whether it's the quarterbacks that throw to these guys, whether it's just not having any value for MHJ, for Travis Hunter, for Lab McConkey. Devontae Adams is nice, but there's questions there. Higgins, Devontae Smith, Mike Evans is injured. It's just nonstop. McLaurin he's now injured, but has been rusty because he held in. It's chaos. This is a guy that gives you hope. If you can buy him even a little higher than the price tags I've mapped out, it might be a way to save your season and get you one of the rare unicorns that has let's even call it top 1 to 6 wide receiver value. That's a unicorn. There are only a handful of players. And I know that there are only top 6 guys. I'm saying there usually are 10 or 11 guys you could consider, and you don't know who's going to finish because they're all good and they kind of rotate, have cups of coffee with the top 5. And that's how you get your very, very nicely built top 10 wide receivers when you're ranking them. Now it feels like you got 4 or 5, 6, and then it's a grab bag of madness. Go buy JJ. He's probably my favorite wide receiver buy low this week. The safest one, the biggest name, and there are people freaking out about his offense. I say trust his offense more than you trust the Bengals offense. I say trust his offense more than you trust the quarterback situation in New York and the team itself. You know, the team at New York feels a lot like Cincinnati. Very, very questionable surroundings that kind of hold back and limit the player. Now, maybe Dart comes in and the whole thing changes, and that's why Neighbors will be, like I spoiled, on the greater, bigger list for the week. This is one player. Neighbors will be one of the others. But crazy madness. Go get JJ. See you on the 8 p.m. show, the midnight Eastern. I'm live whenever big news breaks as well. So I'm live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern every single Monday through Friday. I'm live whenever big news breaks. I'm live at midnight Eastern almost every single night, and you'll have these uploads. And the next upload, probably Wednesday morning, will be 10 to 8 to 12 guys to buy low. And of course, JJ will be one of them. As I alluded to, Neighbors will be one, and then the rest will be a surprise. See you all on one of the live streams next.